okay. You can't.
Reading off a notice, very brilliant chairman of the board. I'm going to get started by reading off a notice, very brilliant chairman of the board. I'm going to get started by reading off a notice pursuant to the open meeting law. Any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting and may transmit the meeting to any mandates that all multiple member bodies develop and adopt rules or policy for public comment. We have mandates that all multiple member bodies develop and adopt rules or policy for public comment. We have adopted such a policy, which in short provides for citizens' input on licensing board specific matters at the beginning of the meeting. There is a sign-up sheet located in the back of the room. Anybody sign up?
Yes, Mr. Higgins.
For public input?
I can wait.
Okay. We're gonna go into the first item and only item on the agenda. It's discussion of reconsideration and a vote if necessary regarding Jewlime Friends Lounge, yeah, LLC DBA Cornerstone Lounge, 226 East Main Street, Manuel De Silva. Mr. De Silva, could you please state your name and address for the record, please?
Manuel De Silva, 4 Falcon Lock Way, Somerset, Mass.
Okay. Mr. De Silva, I would ask you to explain why we're here, but we're here based on a special meeting because you would like the board to reconsider, I assume what is a parking requirement, a parking condition in your approval to open up your Cornerstone Lounge. Is that correct?
Yes.
And I know you have other information regarding that. Has this license been in existence, Mr. De Silva, for 2 years and not open? 2 years?
Give or take. Oops.
Okay. All right, let me, I don't know if anybody has any questions right now, but if I could please. So back in January 19, 2022, I see a decision, and I know Mr. Hathaway is here to address this. Mr. Hathaway, I'll start at this. You have been involved, obviously, and is there a zoning or city ordinance that would require us to have a parking, like a parking condition? I wasn't here when this was done, so I've never known, and I've been on that side of the table many times, of a parking requirement. And I'm only saying it, Glenn, honestly, because I'm looking at places like Sarge, places like Mesa, Scotty's, whatever it may be, and they don't have any,
So if I may just
Sure.
tell you how it happened. So this gentleman applied for a license to your particular board. The neighborhood was concerned over the capacity of the restaurant and what the gentleman wanted to do. So it was agreed upon by board members at the time. I wasn't at the meeting, the way I understand it. It was agreed upon that they'd meet at the site and review the building and also review the parking requirements because the neighbors were in many deep in regards to concerns for parking. So we met at the site. This gentleman had his attorney accompany him. We walked through the restaurant, discussed parking requirements. The neighborhood was there also. Both him and his attorney agreed to approach that landowner and see if they could get an agreement for parking, which they did. At some point down the road, there was an agreement. It was forwarded to me. I remember the date. It was in 2022. Yes, that he had an agreement with that property owner across the street. However, the restaurant was not allowed to open at the time because it was still under some type of construction. I believe at the time, I didn't handle the building itself per se. I did visit it and we come to some agreements. As far as upgrades,
there was a fire issue too.
that was the previous owner. Okay, so this is all in the restaurant. Upstairs is occupied with
No, I had heard that Mr. De Silva that he didn't have a certain approval from the fire department at one point in time as a reason.
Yes, that's right, because it was an Ansel system in the hood system. Okay, that was from the previous tenants,
Okay.
okay, downstairs. So he was not able to open until he brought the kitchen up to code, because it had been closed for several years. I was semi-involved in that. It was another building inspector that was overseeing everything, mainly. There was a bar that was installed, and they did everything according to code, and some minor upgrades had to take place in the kitchen. However, I got involved when the parking issue arose, and they wanted to meet out there, so that's why we met. Going back to the parking, both him and his attorney agreed to touch base with that building owner. As I stated, in doing the renovations of the building and getting that up to par. As far as the parking is concerned, when he was ready to open up, let's say the last time, I asked for an updated letter or some documentation that he still had the parking lot. I told him that he needed to stripe the parking lot and give me a designated handicap parking area, and I would let him open, providing everything in the restaurant was passed. That has not taken place due to the fact that the parking lot is not striped. There's no designated parking for handicap, and I asked him to give me an update. I can't get one, so therefore he's not opening unless I suggested that he come back to this board and have a discussion with this board.
First of all,
So you know what transpired.
You know this, Mr. Hathaway, I'm not putting any of this is not on you, for his not being open.
So to answer your question, there is no zoning decision, okay, for this pre-existing building that the restaurant's been closed more than probably 10 years, non-existing. New owner of the complex, by the way, so there is no zoning here in regards to the...
It's just us then.
Right,
Us as a board.
it's the licensing board listening to the concerns of the neighborhood at the time of his licensing application, and that's all.
I just want, because I've always, if the building department has something that is an ordinance, I'm always 100% behind what you guys do.
Absolutely.
100%. I just wanted to be clear about that, because my experience when I've come before this board on common victuals is that the zoning board always has to sign off that it's okay. So I'm saying this has to be something, and I wasn't here. And I understand the neighbors. I would never not take the neighbors into consideration. I just don't. This is only me, and I wasn't here. Ms. Cordero was. I'm not in favor of keeping this guy closed for this reason. And I appreciate and respect everything you said. I'm not going against you. I don't think when we have other businesses in the city, and for instance, what are we gonna do down the Flint? There's no parking anywhere, and we're trying to renovate it with other businesses. If a restaurant wants to come there, we mean we're gonna say no? I think it's our job, and I'm only speaking for myself, not my fellow board members who are fully capable of speaking for themselves. Our job is, if that restaurant is out of control, and that restaurant is causing problem with parking all over the place and disturbing neighbors, then at that point in time, I'd like the neighbors to come and we address it. I, in my humble opinion, would like to give the gentleman an opportunity to open up. That's like when he came before when he wanted an entertainment license. I was very clear to him. I'm not gonna grant it. Not right now. There's gotta be a track record of what's going on over there. And if he doesn't do what's right, if he doesn't monitor it, and he's causing problems in the neighborhood, it's gonna come back us, and we gotta renew every year. We'll bring him in. That's how I look at it. But I don't wanna penalize the guy, because I grew up over there after St. Pete's, and yet it was Al's Rendezvous on one corner, this was a bar on this corner, Square Deal down the street, and then East Main Cafe was on one corner. They were all over the place. So I'm only gonna speak for myself, and I wasn't here, and Miss Cordero was, so maybe she has a different view, and I respect her view. Mr. Pereira, I'm sure he is gonna weigh in. My humble opinion is I would waive this parking requirement, let this guy get open and try to run his business, and we will monitor it. I would, if the police aren't here today, but if a notice wants to go to the police department to monitor it, there's people parking illegally in the parking lot or whatever it may be. And I would hope that he would still negotiate with the Penders. I know the Petters. Sorry, not the Petters. I know the family, the dad. I don't know Susan. I know the two sons. I would hope that he would continue to negotiate with them, because I think it would be good for his business to have off-street parking. It isn't the easiest place to park. There's no question about it. But that's just my view. So, and members of the board?
Yeah, so I was on the board 2 years ago when you came in front of us the first several times, but I was newer to the board, and I remember being at the site visit and having all of the different neighborhood associations and neighbors in general come in opposition. Wasn't aware that this was not a zoning requirement, and I think for that area of the city, looking at other restaurants like Scotty's and Mesa that have no designated parking, it's all on-street parking. The amount of money that you've put into this property and the fact that you're from outside the area and wanting to invest in our city, I believe you deserve the chance to open your business. And I apologize that it's taken you this long to get your liquor license approved, but I would be in favor of moving forward today.
I agree. I actually, a little opposite as far as, I actually think there is on street parking in that area.
Oh, I do. East Main Street's tough, but Palmer Street's got parking.
Yeah. But even East Main Street, in front of the Wamis, I think it was called Wamis at one time.
Yep.
I've traveled there many, many times. I never see anybody parked in front of there. It's a restaurant and bar. I would imagine you're going to be open a lot at night. The hours must be at night.
Yeah, I'm not changing.
front of-
We're not here. I'm
No,
not.
not changing any hours, right?
No, I'm
But
not
down
doing
there, St. Anne's area at night, I think there is parking there. And then and there's also meters. I believe there are meters there too. So if they're parking at the day, people have to feed the meters, so it's a revenue for the city. So I don't think it's as bleak parking scenario as that's being looked at. But I do hope that you do try to get that parking lot as well, and it does just benefit your business.
Yeah.
I also in favor of this.
The last thing I wanted to say is, and this is just again my opinion. He's gonna have to figure it out as a businessman. If parking becomes an issue and people are not going to his restaurant because of parking, then obviously it's going to hurt his pocketbook. He's going to have to figure that out. So I don't want to put a further condition to hinder his business coming into the city, but he may find out shortly thereafter that people are not going to his business because there's no parking, so he's going to have to do something. But I would like to let him make that as a business decision. At this time, anybody else in favor? Mr. Higgins, name and address for the record, please. And we don't have any violations of the open meeting law, right?
No,
Okay. Just want to make that crystal clear before we go forward.
no, this is a very good meeting. Patrick Higgins, Northport, Alabama. I was up here 2 years ago, as Melanie will remember, when I spoke in favor of this license. I said, look, the guy's spending a ton of money. I've been to his restaurant in Brockton, and I will tell him that on every license that lady issues, and that man issues, it says this license must be posted conspicuously. Looking for a license in some of the restaurants of this city is like a scavenger hunt. This man's got a bulletin board inside his restaurant in Brockton, just like every other restaurant in Brockton. They got a bulletin board with all the licenses. He's got a bulletin board in Fall River waiting to put the licenses in, right outside the office door. I've been in the restaurant. I've been with Glenn and Larry and Manny. Met with one day. We walked through that whole building. Here's the issues. He did everything they asked. As I said the night that Mr. McCoy took over and you guys gave him the license. The city and the residents and the parking and the tenant association, everybody's going to vote with their dollars, right? They're going to come in, they're going to eat, they're going to decide, do I want to come back? Did he do a good job? How's the parking? He can go broke by himself. And I appreciate the fact that you're considering waiving that parking requirement so you can get open after 2.5 years of paying for a license. You know, I don't know if
Well,
this,
the one thing, Mr. Higgins, I do want to interrupt in one case because
I understand circumstances.
I have the utmost respect and I think Glenn's.
No,
that he's-
I agree with Glenn's
So I-
decision.
I just want Mr. De Silva
No, no.
to understand that that 2-year thing, I understand it took 2-year thing, but that went both ways. That's not on the city's back. The parking, I get, but these guys do a great job.
No,
And
there
they want to
was
make sure
no
that it's
question
open
about
and it's
that.
correct.
No question
Okay?
about that at all.
I just want you to know that.
I
Listen,
know
you
that.
paid a bill for 2 years, And I know that's money, and I
Now,
Now,
voted
when I
it-
said that I renewed the license, I paid to renew the license.
Yeah, I know you did.
too, But it's not a day for because I was in the construction to finish that.
Okay, I just want you to know, all right.
I don't know if the
I don't
board,
want to lose my license. That's why I wasn't care to pay the.
And I agree, I just
those
want,
fee
and I
for
didn't,
the
I don't think you said that,
No,
Mr. Higgins,
no, I did
or
not.
implied that. I just want everybody
No,
to
it
know
was
that
definitely not Glenn's fault.
these gentlemen do a great job, and they're out there busting their humps.
I will tell you, I came up from Alabama, and we met with the inspectors, and Glenn and Manny and I, we walked through that building for about, what, hour and a half, Glenn? We went through every item on the code that was required. The next day, he started working on it, including the hook on the back of the bathroom door. So if you have to go to the bathroom in the handicap stall, you just put your jacket there, so you don't have to put it on the floor or wear it. So, I mean, he's done everything. And I appreciate the fact that you're willing to let this man open, and thank you very much.
We haven't taken the official
Well,
vote
I
yet, you know
understand,
that,
but
Mr.
I'm saying
Higgins.
it the way it looks, yeah.
Just don't wanna break any rules.
No.
Anybody else in favor? Anybody opposed? Young man, are you have us saying
What do
this?
you think, Jackson?
Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to reconsider the prior grant of this license and eliminate any conditions relative to parking.
I'll
What are the
make a
hours?
motion
What time
to
you closing?
approve the all alcohol common victuals license for Cornerstone Lounge and waive parking requirements.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion granted unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, before you, what is the condition on the license for the hours, so we make sure that we're in full compliance, so there's no questions?
It'll be listed on the license anyhow, won't it? But
Do you know what it is? I don't know.
I'll tell you right now if I have the last,
Be in there.
no, it is in the last one, I think. One of them had. One second, Mr. Higgins.
I just want to make sure there's no misunderstandings.
Okay, it's in here, because I already read it. I don't know where it is right now. Give me a minute.
Did we say 9 and 10 or 10 and 11?
The hours of operation are, proposed hours of operation would be Tuesday through Thursday, 9 AM to 10 PM, Friday and Saturday, 9 AM to 11:30 PM, Sunday, 9 AM to 10 PM, but alcohol not to be served until 10 AM. That make sense?
Correct. Yep.
You want to write that down?
Yeah, I can't see on the license.
She's gonna give it to you on the license.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for holding the special meeting. We appreciate it.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor, all those opposed?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Hathaway. Appreciate
You're
your,
totally welcome, thank you.
appreciate your time
Enjoy the rest of your day
heading to Maine.
You be a bad boy
tonight.
That's Jackson.
I think the same for